Welcome to the 2022 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this July 28, 2022 Thursday edition. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate your support, and hit that bell notification to be notified of the latest videos that are coming out. Some people saying they haven't been getting the notifications. I want to start this and preface this by saying that we are heading toward an economic storm. We're going to talk about, of course, the Fed rate hike that and the official definition of a recession, which we are in now, and how it's kind of a moot point. We're also going to be talking about the unlimited spending that Congress has been doing in spite of the bad conditions that are faced every day by us in these major cities and not so major cities in the United States and beyond. But everyone's facing it from Europe. The European Central Bank is raising rates. The United States, Australia, Japan, Greece, Turkey, you name it, South America. Everybody's doing the same thing, trying to stay afloat here among a sea of debt, with the United States, as you know, chiefly leading the debt bubble here. So let's get right into it, guys. According to the NPR.org report, U.S. economy just had a second quarter of negative growth. Is it a recession? This is a guy by David Gurr's article. And as you can see, construction has slowed down. A lot of these newer developments, like Pulte Homes, so they had a lot of homes in the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area. They constructed 40 homes, and my friends are telling me that they the tarps are on the roofs, but they haven't. They laid the foundation and graded the lots, but they haven't started actually building another new subdivision down there. So things are slowing down. I've seen price drops in Phoenix market, Tampa market, once again, and also in the upper Midwest. Price drops on houses that are trying to sell now. Existing sales are staying on the market longer on the MLS, the list that the realtors use. So the U.S. economy shrunk last 3 months by 0.09%. Here we go again, folks. Now, I told you this was coming. I also told you that inflation is going to hit 10%, which it will do by the end of next month, because everybody expected the Federal Reserve yesterday to raise points by 75 basis points, which they did. So it wasn't unexpected. So all of that's already been priced into this market. And even though the market's looking like it's having a rally now, I know it rallied yesterday and it rallied somewhat today, but you have to remember, we have yet to feel the fallback from. We feel the fallback from a little bit from the money printing, but we have yet to feel the fallback from the labor market, from all the job losses that continuing to increase. As I explained to you before, they said the question here is, can it be a recession if there are so many jobs, quote, created? The jobs weren't being created, as you know. These are people that were returning to work after the pandemic. They were furloughed, or they were temporarily working from home or furloughed, and they're returning to work. So there wasn't no such thing as job creation. Job creation means a total new industry, like new electronic jobs, new tech jobs, new jobs that actually pay above a living wage, above $25 an hour, to sustain the kind of inflation that we're seeing here in America. And so Janet Yellen has said that, quote, when you're creating almost 400,000 jobs a month, that is not a recession. The problem is we're not creating 400,000 jobs a month. We're losing over 250,000 jobs per month. And that is a recession. So either way you cut it, the economy is weakened. That's what she says. And we know that the economy is weakened because we have a glut of homes on the market. We have a glut of spending going on right now. And guys, by the way, have you guys seen that merger that just happened in the airline industry between JetBlue and Spirit? Apparently JetBlue bought out Spirit Airlines for billions of dollars, what it is. So this tells me the same thing happened in 1929 and between 1929 and the Great Depression in the 30s. Mergers happened between big companies and corporations. And you notice now we have no competition. All we have in these towns, and most of the small towns and middle towns of America, is what? Walmart, McDonald's, Target, dollar stores, gas stations, and fast food places. There is no competition going on, and that's because and I have to be careful what I say here, because I'm always getting censored on YouTube. There's no competition in the market. Monopolies are taking over, because that was the plan from the beginning with this pandemic. As you can see, who was shut down during the pandemic? The small businesses, right? Who was still open during the pandemic? Walmart, Amazon, Target, Costco, right? Sam's. Those stores are still open, but yet our mom and pop stores, our small businesses, whether it was restaurants, car washes, barbershops, you name it, small contractors, electrical contractors, plumbers, they were all forced to shut down and close their doors during the beginning of this pandemic, and even in the middle of this pandemic, as we enter the third and fourth years of this pandemic. So you see, the plan is to shut down the small businesses and let the monopolies buy up everything, and that's what they're doing now, just like in the 1920s, the Great Depression. Also, guys, look at at this. Congress, according to MarketWatch.com, spends $76 billion to help U.S. chip makers in bad tax policy and could turn into subsidies, goodness, forever. So instead of spending money on the homeland, on our infrastructure that's crumbling, our bridges, our roads, our schools, our tax dollars are not going to that. They're going to make the U.S. chip makers more money, because now apparently Congress doesn't have money for the infrastructure bill, but they have $76 billion to give the chip makers, which they're going to waste the money, because right now, who can afford an electric truck? Have you seen the Ford Lightning truck? That truck is $80,000 starting. Who's going to pay that kind of money, even if the chips are there available for all the electronics in these cars? Tesla, who's going to afford a Tesla at $60,000 a pop? That's just, and when the battery dies, which eventually is going to die, who's going to take it to the shop and be paying a $4,000, $5,000 bill to replace this battery in this car if it doesn't catch on fire or do something crazy on you? So, unfortunately, quote here, Congress' propensity is to target specific industries rather than enact policy that improve the overall investment in the U.S., this article says. And we've seen this time and time again. Taxpayers, we've been given crumbs through the stimulus, the 3 checks, even though we thought it was a lot, the $1,400, the $800, or the $600, and the $1,200, we thought it was a lot, but we're giving breadcrumbs compared to these subsidies given to these corporations and other places, and this is going to continue. This is going to continue to bankrupt our country, and so much for America first. Right now, we're putting everybody else ahead of America. Ukraine is getting billions of dollars. Israel is getting billions of dollars. Everybody but the people like you and I who work, who sustain to try to keep this country going, to keep our families going, we're not getting a bailout. And so this is why it's so important for you to prep. Look at this today. This is on tradingeconomics.com. You can set the stats. This is the unemployment rate. Right now, they have the unemployment rate at 3.6%. They're saying it's unchanged. Okay, but guys, it's much higher than that. Look at what it started out during the beginning of the pandemic. This is 1 year ago. It was at 5.4, a higher percent. These are, quote unquote, the official numbers from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. We know that the unemployment rate right now is double, because we just found out in the last video I talked to about last week. We were saying that there was over 250,000 initial jobless claims. That was higher than expected. Also, continuing claims rose by 1 million. So this chart is totally being massaged and manipulated. The real unemployment rate right now is at 10%, ladies and gentlemen. You know it, I know it, and it's not just in the big cities like New York and all these places. The unemployment rate is growing, and this is the sad part about it, is that the Federal Reserve Bank has no choice but to continue to raise rates, even though it's not going to catch up to the pace of inflation. It's supposed to be raised higher than inflation to break the inflation, but it's not. Now we're going to end up with an economy, a stagflation, stagflation into deflation, basically, once we get done this hyperinflation. But we won't get done the hyperinflation until after next year, unfortunately. So, because the prices just gotten too out of control. And so that's why I say continue to have your own food, continue to start learning how to grow your own food, because Walmarts are becoming emptier and the prices are higher. They're charging $7, $8 for water in Walmart. Kids pudding packs are now $8, $9. Things are getting out of hand, and that's why it's important to learn how to grow your own food. Watch homestead prepping channels; they're very good for that. And also, it's important to, of course, have your stock of food, water, and all the necessities that you need to continue to be successful in this endeavor. So continue to prepare, guys. I know that it may seem like everything is going in a negative direction, but the good news is God is on our side. He's helping us to prepare. He's giving us time to prepare, because the system could just crash tomorrow. The banks could freeze up. Everything could freeze up like it did in 2008, and worse, because this time we have more debt. But he's giving us more time to prepare. So let's use that time to prepare, and let's get with the program. So I thank you for joining me on this. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Take care.